back to the Gridiron Expert. Now that the college football regular season is finally over, we can give you our 2018 year in review. So we're going to break down our overall record for the year, also straight up and against the spread, and show you how we did on our final predictions, which teams we got exactly correct, which teams we were close to. We're going to break down all of these stats and give you some analysis on that. And of course, this is going to be our overall record for the year because bowl game predictions will not contribute to this overall record. Those are always completely separate things. Those bowl game predictions will be coming out very soon because bowl games do start this Saturday with a slate of 5 games to kick off the postseason. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right on in. Our overall record for the year, straight up, 390 and 122. So these are based on our prediction changes. Those are thrown in there with this and the way that we fared on straight up games over the course of the entire year. That does include conference championship games. That does include the Army-Navy game that just was played last Saturday. There's 390 and 122, which is good for 76.2%, which is actually a 0.7% increase from our record of last year. We went 75.5% last year, now 76.2% this year. Both, if you round up or round down, equal out to 76, and that was our goal from the start. If you go back and watch our first video for this season, we said we wanted to stay at 76% or do better than that. And we, in my opinion, we actually did improve a little bit overall. So we're happy with where we're at. A very solid year in 2018. Against the spread, we finished 67 and 64, 51.2%, so right around 500, a little bit above that. And I know, depending on which place you look at, maybe some places, sports books and betting lines, it's 50%, 52%, 55%, wherever you look. But our goal, as always, from the beginning of the year, was to finish above 500, and we got that. We accomplished that in our first year where we really sat down and looked at the spreads. I'll take this. Hopefully those numbers will definitely increase by a lot going into the 2019 season. But to start things off, we'll take a 67 and 64 record. We will also be doing our bowl game spread picks. Those will also be coming out on Twitter at Gridiron Expert. Just at Gridiron Expert. So go follow us there for our bowl game spread picks. We'll be doing that for every single bowl game, much like we'll be doing predictions straight up for every single bowl game. Up here, we've got FBS. And remember the way this worked last year, we predicted every FBS team. If you go back, we did individual team predictions for all the Power 5 teams and the independents, and then we did our conference breakdowns for the group of 5 teams to get the American Athletic, the Sun Belt, MAC, so forth and so on. We consider an accurate prediction to be getting that record exactly correct, or being within one game. So, for example, you have a team that's at 6 and 6. Maybe they went 7 and 5. We predicted them to go 6 and 6, and maybe they went 7 and 5, or maybe they went 5 and 7. But either way, we were within one game, and we consider that to be an accurate prediction. 2 games off, it's a no-go, but 1 game off, we'll take it. So in the FBS, we got 66 teams either correct or within one game. So 66 out of 130, 50.8%, so a little bit above 500 there. Just Power 5, solely Power 5, same thing, exactly correct or within one game. We got 36 out of 70. That does include the independents as well, so that's 51.4%. If you took out the independents from this Power 5 record there, that percentage would increase to about 55%. So depending on how you want to look at that in terms of our accuracy, that's up to you. But we do include the Power 5 and the independents in the Power 5, and that gives us a 51.4% accuracy rate or winning percentage, however you want to name it there. Down here at the very bottom, we have 2017 and 2018. So we took our overall record from this year and our overall record from last season, which, like I said, this year was better than last season. Combine those together, that's good for 779 and 248 over these past 2 years, which is 75.9%. Once again, if you round up, that is 76%, which seems to be kind of where we're at right now. That seems to be the benchmark where we are, and we're hoping to improve on that, get up to 77%, 78%, slowly work our way up. Hopefully next year we can reach that goal. But this 1,027 games that have been predicted over these past 2 years, this season alone, I believe we had 512 games predicted just in 2018 solely. We'll have another 40 on top of that with these bowl game predictions. So as we've said before, a lot of work goes into this, a lot of time goes into it, but we do it for you guys, we do it for ourselves, something that we love to do. So, and really getting 779 out of 1,027, not too bad in our eyes, 76%. We are certainly happy with that. Down here at the bottom, we've got a couple teams that we did get the record exactly correct. And these aren't the only teams we got exactly correct, but these are just a handful. Obviously, we had limited space here. Alabama, of course, going undefeated. We also predicted Clemson to go undefeated. They're not up here on the board, but we did predict that, and the Tigers did deliver. Ole Miss sitting at 5-7. We predicted that. Iowa and Purdue 8-4, 6-6 respectfully. And Purdue, a team that we got criticized for going 6-6. After the progress that they showed last year, then we thought maybe they could get to 7 wins, 8 wins, and they struggled right off the bat. I think starting off, 0-3, and that was obviously a big cause. They could have certainly had a much better year, especially with that major win over Ohio State and competing well against some of their Big Ten opponents. But the slow start is what really killed the Boilermakers. But we had 6-6 for Purdue there. Did get that correct. UCLA at 3-9 got a lot of criticism for this one back in the summer. And now I'm just looking at that. It's like, look who's laughing now, because just because you get a solid head coach, such as UCLA did with Chip Kelly, does not mean that you will immediately be transformed into a contender. Immediately transformed into a conference title contender or a national contender. Many people thought that would be the case with Chip Kelly coming to UCLA. We weren't buying the hype. I do expect him to get the Bruins there, but we weren't expecting that in year one. We said they were going to go 3-9. That's exactly what they did. Just because you get a new head coach that's solid does not mean your team will be transformed. Look at, you can look across the board. We had a couple solid head coaches this year. We look at Chad Morris over at Arkansas, giving the Razorbacks their worst season, I think, in their history, going 2-10. There are a couple other examples out there, and all people might be buying the hype for Les Miles when he goes to Kansas. That might not be the case. Willie Taggart down at Florida State, he didn't deliver, not getting the Seminoles to a bowl game, snapping, a 40-game or a 40-year streak of going to bowl games. So just because you get a new head coach does not mean that you will become contenders automatically. People thought that'd be the case, and we stuck with our guns, and UCLA did exactly what we thought they were going to do. And then Wake Forest, another team that many thought would do a little bit better, especially after the success they had last year, doing better, winning that thriller over Texas A&M in the Belk Bowl. They went 6-6 this year, where we had them. Many people thought they'd crack 7 or 8 wins, and that wasn't the case. A couple other teams that we did get exactly correct, we just didn't put up here on the board: Georgia and the SEC, Ohio State, Maryland, Indiana, all from the Big Ten. We did get correct. California, Oregon State in the Pac-12, Kansas from the Big 12, and Clemson from the ACC, as we mentioned. And of course, those aren't all the teams. That's just a handful of teams, some of the bigger schools that we did get exactly correct on the records. We also predicted all of the Power 5 conference champions exactly correct back in the preseason. Alabama winning the SEC, Ohio State winning the Big Ten. We had Washington winning the Pac-12, Oklahoma winning the Big 12, and then, of course, Clemson winning the ACC. So we did predict all of those correct. Not necessarily the matchups correct, but we did predict the champions correct. So overall, I would say it was a very solid 2018. We were happy with where we're at. We're happy with our percentages. Could it have been better? Could we have had some games that have gone our way that maybe just didn't because teams didn't perform the way we thought they were going to, or maybe we had some controversial endings or just some wild endings, period? Of course, but that's the fun of college football. And I will say 76%, if you go and look, is a little bit better, if not a lot better, than some of the other analysts out there where you look on Fox or Bleacher Report or CBS or ESPN. Regardless, we've got some of the more accurate predictions on YouTube right here, and this is where you're going to want to come, especially if you're trying to win your Bowl Mania group. You need to come here for our bowl predictions, which will be coming out very, very soon for the first slate of bowl games kicking off this Saturday. And so, as always, the incentive still stands to help us get to 2,000 subscribers by January 7th, by the national championship game. We advertised that in our State of the Channel address, and after we did that, we lost about 40 subscribers. So I don't know what that was about, but that's okay. The challenge is a little tougher now. We got a little more longer ways to go to get to 2,000, but I believe we can do it. We need your help. The incentive still stands. We're keeping track with who brings in the most subscribers, and the winner will, of course, get a gift card, some Gridiron Expert gear, whatever they want, courtesy of us here at the Gridiron Expert. So help us get to 2,000 by January 7th. That's going to be our main goal. Also, go follow us on Twitter at Gridiron Expert, and always here on YouTube. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the Gridiron Expert.